Good morning, students. So in today's class, we are going to be discussing about the binding energy per nucleon. As in the last previous video, we already discussed the definition of the binding energy. Okay. So the binding energy is the minimum energy which is required to stable the nucleus is called as binding energy, or the energy which is required to split the nucleus into its constituents. Okay, it's called as binding energy. Now, binding energy per nucleon is also called as specific binding energy. It is also called as specific binding energy. Okay. Now, binding energy per nucleon is the average energy which is needed for the nucleus to nucleons to split into its constituent nucleons is called as its binding energy per nucleon. So I am writing the definition here. Binding energy per nucleon is the average energy needed for the nucleons to split into its constituent nucleon is called, it is binding energy per nucleon. Okay, or it is, there is binding energy per nucleon is the ratio of binding energy to the number of nucleons, that is mass number. Okay, is called binding energy per nucleon. Okay, so here I am writing binding energy is equal to, that is binding energy per nucleon is equal to the ratio of binding energy to the mass number. As you know that the mass number is denoted by with the capital letter A. Here A is indicating the mass number. Okay, so this is the definition of the binding energy per nucleon. Now here, what this binding energy gives an idea. Okay, हमें बाइंडिंग एनर्जी पर न्यूक्लियन क्या आइडिया देता है? ओके, इट गिव्स एन आइडिया फॉर द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ एन न्यूक्लियस. ओके, इट गिव्स एन आइडिया ऑफ स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ nucleus. Stability of nucleus. How this nucleus is going to be bonded. Okay, is going to give the information about the stability of the nucleus. Okay, binding energy per nucleon gives an idea of stability of the nucleus. Okay, so this is all about the binding energy per nucleon. Now next we will move towards binding energy per binding energy curve. Okay, binding energy curve. Okay, so binding energy curve is observed when a binding energy per nucleon, and when a graph is plotted between the binding energy per nucleon and the mass number, then whatever the curve we are obtaining, that curve is called as binding energy curve. Okay, so that curve I will explain you in the next video. So how this binding energy curve will be obtained when we plot a graph between the binding energy per nucleon versus mass number. Here this binding energy per nucleon is independent of atomic number. Okay, so the graph is when we are plotting a graph between the binding energy per nucleon versus mass number, then whatever the curve which we are obtaining, that curve is called as binding energy curve. Okay, so this is all about the binding energy per nucleon and the binding energy curve. Okay, now next we will discuss the nuclear forces. Okay, so nuclear forces, the force which holds the nucleus is called as nuclear forces. Okay, the force which holds the nucleus, such force is called as nuclear forces. Okay, now we will discuss the properties of these nuclear forces. Okay, now the force which holds the nucleus is called nuclear force. Okay, now we discuss the properties of this nuclear forces one by one. Okay, so just you note on this one. We will discuss the nuclear forces one by one. Okay. So now the first property of nuclear force is that nuclear force is a strongest force. It is a strongest force. Okay. It is 100 times greater than the Coulomb's force. Okay. Nuclear force is a strongest force which is 100 times greater than the Coulomb's force, and it is 10 to the power of 38 times greater than the gravitational force. Okay, it is 10 to the power of 38 times greater than the gravitational force. Hence, it is considered as the strongest force in nature. Okay, it is considered as the strongest force in nature. Okay. Now next there is, it is a short range force. It is a short range force. Nuclear force is a short range force. At a distance of 2 Fermi, when the distance between the proton and the neutron. Okay, if the distance is 2 Fermi, then the nuclear force is appreciable. Nuclear force is appreciable for the distance when the distance is 2 Fermi, and if the distance is greater than this 2 Fermi, say for example, if the distance becomes 4 Fermi between the neutrons or the protons, or a proton and neutron, if distance is greater than 2 Fermi, then their nuclear force will be less. Nuclear force is less. Okay, it is appreciable only at a distance of 2 Fermi. Okay, now third one is, it is nuclear force is charge independent. It is charge independent. Okay, it does not going to depend on the charge. Nuclear force is equal between the two protons or two neutrons or proton and neutron. So there the nuclear force is equal always. So hence we can say that the nuclear force is charge independent. Okay. So fourth one is last. It is nuclear force attains saturation. Nuclear force attains saturation. Okay. So nuclear force it gets saturation very short time. Okay, that the time period of saturation is very less here. So it attains easily. So nuclear force attains saturation in less time. So these are the four important properties of the nuclear forces. Okay, we should remember only these four important properties of the nuclear forces, which is very important. Okay, so they might ask you in 3 marks or 2 marks, write any two properties of very important. Write any two properties of nuclear forces, or sometimes they might ask you in 3 marks also. Write any 3 or 4 properties of nuclear forces. So at least you should remember these 4 properties. Okay. So now next, that is our next topic is nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. Now energy sources like coal, petroleum, if you take, so whatever the energy which you are obtaining per atom from these sources like coal or petrol, the energy will be very less. We can say the energy is measured in terms of electron volt. So the energy which is released through the coal or petrol per atom is in electron volt. In electron volt. But the energy released through the nuclear or a nucleus, okay, so that energy is 1,000,000 times greater than the energy which is released through the coal or petrol. So hence it is considered as the strongest force, we can say here. Okay, and because it is the energy which is released through this nuclear is 1,000,000 times greater than the energy which is released from the coal or petrol. Okay, so there are two types of you can say the energy nuclear reactions here. One is called as two types of nuclear reactions. One is nuclear fission and the other one is nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion. So let me explain on the first, that is nuclear fission. So I think this definition you have already studied in your 10th class, in 9th class, what is called as nuclear fission. Okay, so nuclear fission is a reaction in which here the nucleus is going to be split into its constant nucleons. Okay, so that is called as nuclear fission. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, हेवी न्यूक्लियस क्या होता है, स्प्लिट हो रहा, स्प्लिट यानी कि स्प्लिट होके अलग अलग फ्रैगमेंट्स में डिवाइड हो जाता है. So such reaction is called as nuclear fission reaction. Fission means, don't get confused here, fission means splitting. Okay, heavy nucleus is going to be split into its constant nucleons. Okay, so that reaction is called as nuclear fission reaction. Okay, nuclear fusion. Okay, nuclear fusion means, so whatever the fragments which are there, small, lighter nuclei. So here it is heavy, it is splitting from heavy nucleus to lighter nuclei. Here two lighter nuclei will get fused together and forms a heavy nucleus here. Okay, just I'll draw that diagram here for to understand. Here it is a heavy nucleus, it is splitting into two lighter nuclei. These are the two lighter nuclei. Such reaction is called as nuclear fusion reaction. And here, when two lighter nuclei, when they are combining, they forms a heavy nuclei. Such reaction is called as nuclear fusion. Fusion means both these are fusing together and forming a heavy nuclei. Such reaction is called as nuclear fusion reaction. Okay, so these are the very two important definitions. That is two definitions. That is nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Say for nuclear fission, for example, if you take when a uranium isotope, okay, when it is bombarded with a neutron, so it is going to be split into different fragments. Okay, say for example here, when it is combined with a neutron, it is uranium 235 92. Okay, when it is being combined with this uranium isotope, when it is combining with the neutron, here it forms a heavy nucleus, that is uranium 236 92. Okay, and there it releases two byproducts. One is barium and the other one is krypton, plus it releases some neutrons here. Okay, so here barium, it is say for example here it is releasing a barium 155 when this heavy nucleus, or you can say the uranium isotope, when it is being combined with the neutron, it forms a uranium 236 92. With releasing it is splitting into two fragments here. As I said in the definition, nuclear fission here, it is splitting into two fragments. One is called as barium, the other one is will be a krypton with releasing a neutrons here. Okay, so I'll write that reaction here. Just to note down. So when it is combined with the neutron, then it releases a two products. That is, one is barium, the other one is krypton, and it is releasing some neutrons here. So here barium 144, 56, and krypton it will be, it is 36 and it is 55 with 3 neutrons it is emitting, plus releasing some a large amount of energy. Okay, so that is what the nuclear fission, it is an example here. This is one example here. Okay, nuclear fission is a process in which the heavy nucleus is going to be split into a lighter nuclei, whereas in case of nuclear fission, here two lighter nuclei are going to be combined to form a heavy nuclei. Okay, so this is all about the two types of nuclear reactions here. Okay, so in the next class we will continue with the next topic. Okay, so just go on. Thank you. Okay, here it should be a 89 here. Okay, so krypton 89, 36. Okay, note down. Thank you.